The Queer Kiwi, we've seen her videos in the past. We've seen that she is incredibly wise, so I think she's someone who's worth looking at to learn from. In a video from 2 weeks ago, she talks about a topic very close to my heart, and that is comedy that sucks. I love comedy that is bad. And she seems to be claiming to have a bunch of it, and it's political too. Amazing! Perfect! Today we're going to learn about why the H in conservative stands for humor. Do you get it? What H? Ho-ho! She got him. Destroyed. Hey, wait! Where'd she get that picture of my experience on the train from? I don't think that's a joke. I think that's just what happens when you go to Liverpool.
Pals,
greetings and salutations.
To another video.
Thank you. I'll look forward to learning.
Recently on Twitter, I have seen an influx of just like terrible conservative memes.
That's a lie. Recently? Recently? I guess you could have started looking recently, but no.
They keep coming up on my timeline from people quote retweeting them and laughing at them. And I find them so amusing. And so I wanted to share some of them with you. And so I've got...
Damn. I'd love it if she was like, but my friends are stupid. These memes are actually good. Like, she had to be... Look, you could say this incidentally, but it's like, oh, people were quote retweeting them. You know, just to shit on them, okay? I would never follow someone who would share these memes and not just say they're bad, okay? Leave me alone.
And found some right-wing memes, either taken from my Twitter timeline or from the subreddit r/the right can't meme.
Oh, God.
And I thought we would sit down and just have a little bit of a laugh at just how unfunny conservatives are, because, you know, laughing at their unfunniness is a brilliant time.
In general, look, in general, I agree. Laughing at failed attempts to be funny is really funny. Do you want to know what isn't funny, though? Laughing at successful attempts to be funny to an audience that isn't you. That's not funny. But it is funny to laugh at people who are saying something isn't funny because it contains a political element that they disagree with and have to say is unfunny because the audience isn't for them.
But before we get into that, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to today's patron of the day, Knitting Menace. I appreciate you and your support so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/savvycat.
If you enjoy her videos, go pay her. Send her a tip.
Starts at as little as £1 a month, and it genuinely helps me out so much. So thank you. Yeah, all right, let's have
only £1 a month? I'm not going to make the joke, okay?
Have a dive into some bad conservative memes. First one.
Bad how? Like, I don't think she can do this video. Because even an absolute, like, banger joke, something that mechanically works as comedy, what is a conservative meme she would ever think is good? Make a conservative joke fast? I don't know. How'd you get a gay man to f a woman? Shit in her cunt. That's from Jimmy Carr, I believe. Does that count as... That's not really a conservative joke, though, is it?
What I found is one that came up on my Twitter timeline, which is this the future you want for your daughters and granddaughters?
I don't think this is a joke. Do you think this is comedy? You're right, it's not funny. I mean, it kind of is funny that the art style is really, really funny. That this person is trying to be like, you're gonna get swarmed by the brownoids, but it's like, it's like the art from those like hentai YouTube ads.
And it is an AI generated image, because of course it is, of like a white woman clutching the Union Jack, just, you know, show that she's British and we're obviously in the UK, surrounded by a bunch of like Arabic men all laughing. And what?
Arabic? Maybe.
Of like
they don't look Arabic to me.
Arabic men all laughing. And what? What? This has been like...
Wait, it's not just that she disagrees, it's that she doesn't even She doesn't even know?
A trend at the moment.
You're right, it has been a trend.
Seen a ton of memes like this with like British women surrounded by like Arabic men or
Yes. You know, I wonder if Queer Kiwi knows about the grooming gangs. Regardless of your take on it, are you unaware?
Arabic people in general being like, is this the future that you want? And it's like,
Wait, British women surrounded by like
Arabic men or Arabic people in general being like, is this the future that you want? And it's like, I am very confused.
She can't. It's impossible for her to. Does she not even understand what they're saying? I would have expected her to be like, this is racist, diversity's beautiful. Is she legit just not even getting what?
Because, one, I don't think that
Stop right there. Stop right there.
Immigration is to the extreme where a majority of the population is going to be anything other than white British.
Where? Holy shit! Why do you think that? There are parts where that's already true.
But regardless, who freaking cares, man?
It's not true. And even if it is true, why is that a bad thing? Actually, it is true. That's a good thing.
And I don't particularly care about the ethnicity of people around me.
Oh, you would be happy for everyone to be white? But also, I strongly doubt the people making memes and sharing memes like this literally just care about, the brown. Czar indeed. There are other elements to those men in that meme than simply their brown skin.
Is this the future you want for your daughters? I mean, I don't really care.
Does she understand the backdrop of rape gangs, grooming gangs? Does she get right? If she's genuinely ignorant of what's being referenced and the subtext, this is very unfortunate. If I'm going to be charitable, she doesn't get what's being referred to and referenced and implied. You have to argue, oh, it's only a minority of them, blah, 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 that behave like that, so on and so forth. The answer to, like, what about your daughter being swarmed by people who don't believe in her rights and will abuse her physically? I don't really care! Oh, no. Just stay away. I wouldn't try and debunk Serbian memes, because I would have absolutely no idea what's going on, probably, or subtext, or references, right? If you don't know about the UK, you may believe that white people have no culture and white countries have no culture and there's just nothing here but what's at face value to what anyone says. You gotta know a bit about the UK if you're gonna be looking at UK memes. Okay? A little bit, just a crumb.
How are you jumping to this conclusion? Why are you jumping to this conclusion? Why are you making AI art of this? Do something better with your time and stop fear-mongering.
Fear of what? What's bad about this picture and what she said? Curious.
Which shouldn't even really be fear-mongering.
Okay, she recognizes. She realized.
Nothing really that you have to be afraid of.
From what I've seen of her in the past, I'm pretty sure she would consider a train ride. She would consider standing around in Birmingham to be violence.
So this is two people talking. It's someone asking a pansexual person questions. So, are you bisexual? No, I'm pansexual. I'll have sex with everyone. So you bang children? No, that's pedophilia. You fuck dead people.
Is she gonna debunk it? Is she gonna say, oh, this chud is trying to enforce the binary? Pansexual is recognizing that there are identities outside of that. And you're attracted to all of them. Debunked. This meme isn't funny to anyone now. Granted, do I find this funny? No. I understand what's happening here, though.
No, that's necrophilia. So you fuck animals. No, that's zoophilia. Oh, so you're bisexual. No! Listen, I just don't understand why it matters.
Yeah, I agree. Why is there a flag for it? That's crazy, right?
Just don't get it. You do not have to understand the premise of pansexual. If your brain can't decipher between bisexual and pansexual, I don't really care.
They made a little joke comic where the pansexual is getting trolled. They made a little pretend, oh, pansexual getting trolled meme. Why do you care about... So, you can't include that in a video and have like... You can't! Your roast video of shit conservative memes can't include, I don't care about this meme, because that's just not interesting or entertaining. You're not roasting it.
That's fine. Just respect the label that people use for themselves and carry on. Because believe it or not, the label other people choose to identify with doesn't...
Is she pro-inclusive language, do you reckon?
...doesn't actually have any impact on your life.
It super does. Try referring to someone in a gendered manner that they don't want you to. Depending on where you live. See what happens.
And you're not, like, outsmarting anyone or proving any point by just being a dick. For one, you can just look up the definition of the...
your little meme has been debunked.
...difference between pansexual and bisexual, because there is one. And some people who fit the description of one identify with the other. Like,
So they're wrong.
I know a lot of people who fit with the description of pansexual do identify as bisexual. And, like, that's fine as well. Like, whatever fits you.
Why can you only be fast and loose with definitions and understandings if it's to apply to yourself?
You can use. And it's none of anyone.
There's little enough of a difference that they can be used interchangeably and you're happy for that. But you oppose someone saying they can be used interchangeably and they're the same thing. You can treat them as being the same thing with regard to yourself but not other people. Why? Because if people use it that way for themselves, that's what its definition is. That's common use. So the meme is literally correct. You've argued them into being right when I think you could have... Holy shit.
Someone else's fucking business. You don't get to sit here and be like, ha, I owned you about your own sexuality because you don't even know what it is. It's like you open Google. Just listen to what people say and respect people. Very, very simple.
If I use the language towards myself, it has the same effect on common usage as if it's used towards someone else. If you care about what something is called, dog, I don't know, man.
It's like, I find really interesting that a lot of people here, a bunch of people who watch my videos and otherwise who just know of my existence, really like to assume my sexuality, which I find really interesting. A lot of people call me a lesbian, which I am not a lesbian. And a lot of people just put the label of bisexual on me constantly because I talk about how I have dated men, how I'm interested in men as well. And so people are just like, oh, she's bi. And people refer to me as bi quite a lot.
Okay.
And I have to make this disclaimer over and over again.
Why?
I do not identify as bisexual.
Okay, what does it matter?
I also do not identify as pansexual. I identify as queer. End of. I don't have a label beyond that, so...
You do if people use it towards you. Which, it's not a video game. You don't have, like, your character sheet and you choose. Yeah, it's not your gamer tag!
If everyone could stop trying to figure out...
Hey, I'm gay. Meaning, exclusively attracted to female humans. Consenting of age. Human females. Living... What's the King Cobra?
Not what my label is. It's literally...
And by that, I mean I'm gay.
It's in my name. The Queer Kiwi. I am queer, nothing else. Thank you. This is Mario celebrating, saying Black History Month is finally ending.
Oh, damn, is she gonna debunk this by saying, these months are actually good. You should not be sad.
And then underneath, he's crying because... tomorrow is the first day of Women's History Month. Hey, Mario, bro, just get over it.
Is she going to explain what she thinks funny about that? Do you think she understands?
every single day of every single month of every single year is White Man Day.
Yes, Queer Kiwi. This meme is an expression of someone's upset that every day isn't White Man Day. That's what it is. That's what it is. Little did she know Italians aren't even white.
And so I think having like a Black History Month and a Women's History Month.
This joke isn't funny because I think Black History Month good. Stop.
Etc. Like, totally fine and totally valid. And
she doesn't even think they're good? Boys, we got a fascist here. Fine and valid? You don't think Black History Month is good or necessary?
And like, what do you even really, what changes in that time?
Holy shit, minorities destroyed. True. It is appeasement.
Not really very much. You still live exactly the same way as you did every other day, except maybe there are going to be like some educational things, like at museums there might be some like
a little bit more than that happens sometimes, okay?
Extra history exhibits. At school you might have more of a focus on that part of history. Like
I remember back when women existed. Wait, what do you mean that part of history? The black part of history? Queer Kiwi, are you one of those people for whom, like, black history just means slavery? Nice. What do you mean that part of history? That's like a fascinating, like, Freudian thing you could dig into.
I've never noticed or seen much change literally anywhere, aside from maybe a little bit of change on social media during any of these times. Like, don't act like it makes any difference to your life, even a little bit. This is...
I don't think that laugh is real. Hey, Queer Kiwi, do the biker gangs over there, like, fly a black fist flag? Or, like, the, like a, blah. What would be a feminist logo? I don't know. Like a fist going up an asshole?
A pie graph of red being the amount of discrimination and
you just need to draw a circle on like the black resistance fist for Feminist Month.
Hate Republicans get, and blue being the amount of discrimination and hate LGBTQ people get. And the entire thing is red with like a tiny...
You've got this. This is Facebook boomer go for you're a crybaby type thing. You can get them. At least to your audience, you can get them good if you're like, you're a puss.
Tiny sliver of blue. Because we all know that the most discriminated against, hated genre of people is conservatives. Republicans. Republicans are the most hated group of people in the whole wide world. They get hate crimed, they get banned from places, they are...
Be careful with this, Kiwi, if you're not familiar with the whole world. What are you doing? This was so easy. What are you doing?
Just so oppressed and discriminated against. It's disgusting.
You're from New Zealand, not America. You're supposed to know the world exists.
Disgusting. That's why Donald Trump won the election in 2016. That's why he's likely going to win in the next election, because...
Holy based. Wait, she lives in London! What? She's a liar. She's straight up a liar pretending not to understand. No, you cannot live in the UK and not understand the meme unless you don't go outside. You cannot live here and not know.
Because Republicans are a minority and everyone hates Republicans. Bro, like, be so for real. It's so funny because they have no idea what discrimination and oppression actually looks like. So it's like they go and just fucking like hate queer people, and they are actually being so discriminatory and horrible, but it's so ingrained in them that
you're being so discriminatory right now.
They think it's like normal. And then as soon as people are just like, hey, don't fucking do that and stand up for themselves, or maybe like bully them a little bit for
Damn, when people are bullied, they say they're getting bullied.
Having such oppressive, like, values. They're like, how dare you? You are discriminating against me. My life is so hard. Like, bro, people...
Isn't that the basis of your politics? They made like a cringe boomer I'm a victim pie chart. Look, they didn't base their whole politics on it, okay?
Being a little bit mean to you does not actually change your social standing even a little bit. As soon as they don't get everything they want, they're like, oh my god, I'm being hate crimed. Like, come on. It's fucking, you wouldn't last a day outside of your fucking Republican bubble as like a queer person. Like, it's just so...
you wouldn't last 1 hour on the train to Liverpool. Chili chi. She can't pull this off. There are people who can pull this off. She can't do it.
So astounding. They see the fact that, like, Pride Month exists, or that, I don't know, gay people can get married, and they're like, oh my god, gay people can do the same thing as I can, so now...
I don't think white people can have a Pride Month, Queer Kiwi. Or, I don't think, she says Republicans. I presume she means further than that, based on what we've seen so far. Is there a Republican Pride Month?
Now I'm oppressed. Other people...
That would be cringe as hell if there was, but...
Getting stuff doesn't take it away from you. This is a man sitting on the couch eating some...
Right. Why is protein pill? Why is pre-weight loss brote in this?
Chips, and a muscly woman coming up to him and saying, I'm gonna be world champ, Zach. I'm a finely tuned fighting machine, and you're fat and ugly. I'm sorry, it's over. And he then looks in the mirror and says, fat, ugly, well, I'll show her, and goes to the hospital to get surgery. And he says, let's do this, doc. And then now, because he
she says, let's do this, doc.
Had surgery, he is a woman, so he is qualified to fight against women in the boxing ring. Even though he's had no training at all. Obviously.
Oh, you don't mean I thought it was going to be even though he's had no hormone treatment at all. Is she going to debunk and not understand? Hey, this is hard to understand. Hey, in panel 2, you're meant to think, oh, he's going to get in shape, he's going to lose all that weight, but then, he gets dick slit and then punches her in the face because he's allowed to now. You understand? It's called subversion of expectations.
He is a woman, so he is qualified to fight against women in the boxing ring, even though he's had no training at all. Obviously, since he is a biological male, that means he can immediately win this boxing match. And
it's a joke. It's a webcomic.
And knock out this world-class fighter. Bro, the ego you must have to think...
Nah, look. A fat slug would die to like Rhonda if she's still good. I don't know.
That you, as a man, can take out a, like, professionally trained fighter is fucking hilarious. It doesn't matter how big you are. Nothing.
No, it does. No, it does. Now she's going too far.
It literally doesn't matter. A world-class fighter is going to take you out in fucking minutes. You do not stand a chance. As an untrained anyone.
That's not a guarantee with everything. If you say literally nothing matters but training, totally does. If someone's huge, extremely muscular, strong, but untrained, they hit you once? Granted, you're trained, you probably know how to move better and whatnot. That doesn't make you immune to getting hit. It might certainly put the odds in your favor. It's not guaranteed, though.
You do not stand a chance against a professional. You could not just step into the ring and knock her out. I'm fucking sorry, but the ego to think you're capable of that is unreal.
It's a joke. is the joke. He got called fat. Haha, I'm gonna show her. Oh, he's gonna get in shape? No.
Training is what makes all the difference. If you don't have good technique, you haven't trained for a long time, like it doesn't matter. You're not fucking winning.
I think there's 100%, regardless of size, weight, etc. difference, you think there's 0% chance for an untrained to beat a trained? No.
You're getting showed up immediately. I fucking dare you. I dare you to try to fight a trained fighter. I dare you.
It's a joke. It's a little joke comic. I don't get this response to that one.
Because it's not going to end well for you, and you absolutely deserve to be throttled and left on your ass. Americans, nothing. British people, imagine not having free healthcare.
This isn't conservative humor. No.
Then it's like a frame from...
I think she's going to say this is funny. I think this is the one she's put in to be able to say one's funny.
SpongeBob of just lots of big and...
Actually, it's really hard to get dental care under the NHS.
Dirty teeth. And I just don't entirely...
Holy
the point of this one. Like...
She lives in London! You're like, yeah, what?
Imagine not having free healthcare and then just having bad teeth. Well, joke's on you for that one, Americans, because dental care is not included under free healthcare.
Not typically.
We don't have free dental care for whatever fucking reason. I don't know, but dental care is expensive and something you have to pay out of pocket. I don't know how expensive it is in the States, but I pay £70 to go to the dentist.
Oh, oof.
And then like £200 for a filling.
You've had a filling? Hey, wonder why that meme exists.
Which is fucking ridiculous, and why I don't go to the dentist even though my tooth really fucking hurts.
Hey, I don't get this joke. By the way, I live in the UK and my mouth is all f***ed up. Come on, Queer Kiwi. Come on. Oi, mate, what's this joke meant to be? Ah! My fucking teeth! Ah!
So the teeth thing is a bad argument, and...
It's not an argument! It's literally not an argument. It's taking the piss out of British people who are like, oi, at least we don't get fucking murdered in our schools. It's international banter. Oi, mate, you gotta pay $1 million if you scrape your knee. At least we got free healthcare. And then he has the fucking, like, rotting teeth that should be looked at.
Regardless of anything, I think I would rather have bad teeth and free healthcare than good teeth and no free healthcare.
Okay. The irony here is that she is Patrick Star.
I love the idea that all Americans just have good teeth and that...
Oh my God, she's debunking a British people have bad teeth joke. Oh my God. Conservatives aren't funny. Let me show you my sources.
All British people just have bad teeth. It's a fucking hilarious notion. So funny. And a completely null argument entirely. Imagine not having free healthcare. That sounds horrifying. That sounds horrible. I hate the idea of not having free healthcare. God, I just got my wisdom teeth out, and I know I just said dental care isn't covered, but things like surgery is, or can be. So I just got my wisdom teeth out under the NHS, which meant I didn't have to pay for it, and
no more. I guess your intelligence really is stored in them.
Cannot imagine if I'd have had to fork over a ton of money for it. Like, I had the option to go private, and I'm like, no, why would I pay £500?
Because there's a risk that your surgery won't be done by someone who's qualified, and we might cover this in a later stream.
When I could get it for fucking free.
There's a spoiler for future content.
If I just wait a few months. If I have the option, I'm gonna use it. And like Kat,
Hold up. Queer Kiwi, you just included the answer.
£100 when I could get it for fucking free if I just wait a few months.
If I just wait a few months. If I just let this infection fester for 6 months, I can get it removed for free.
If I have the option, I'm gonna use it. And like,
did you know that delays in healthcare have no impact whatsoever on your prognosis?
Kat has been really sick recently. Like, she had pneumonia. And although the doctors are fucking shit and not very helpful half the time, I know that that's a case pretty much globally.
Can I listen to that again?
Sick recently. Like, she had pneumonia. And although the doctors are fucking shit and not very helpful half the time, I know that that's a case pretty much globally. I've heard a lot of stories about shit doctors in the US too. Like, it doesn't really make much of a difference. GPs are just generally not the greatest, not the most helpful, but she's had to go.
I am gonna say, I've seen 1 or 2 bad GPs, but overall, whenever I see GP, they're actually really good. I found that GPs tend to be really good.
Go to the doctors like 6 times and the hospital once, and she's had to do a bunch of tests and whatever. And if we had to fucking pay for that, she wouldn't have been able to. She'd just be fucking.
So this rant, we're at 30 minutes 37. This is her response to this image.
Pay for that. She wouldn't have been able to. She'd just be fucking sick forever. Like, I'm gonna take the free healthcare any day. Any day. Thank you. Like, my sister was admitted to the hospital.
Right, but we don't really just have magically free healthcare. And I don't just mean because we pay NI, right? There are more problems. You're saying, oh, I don't understand. Why don't you want a ton of immigrants? Saying this as an immigrant myself. We don't have infinite doctors, okay, in this country, right? There's a certain amount of load that can be taken by the resources we have, yeah?
A year ago for like a heart murmur and then had to get like heart surgery. And if we didn't have free healthcare, that would have cost a fucking arm and a leg. But you know what it cost instead? Nothing. Nothing. And now her heart is better. She doesn't have to take
at point of treatment, nothing, yes.
medication for it anymore because she got it fixed for free. And the wait time, I think, was like 6 months, which I'm pretty sure.
Her heart was exploding and she only had to wait 6 months. What are you doing?
It's like how long it is in the US as well. That's what's.
Hey, unless you're very careful about, holding on to the doctors who are educated here, getting more doctors in who are appropriately educated. What do you think is going to happen to those wait times if population goes up and the ratio of people to people able to treat them gets more out of whack? Do you think those wait times go up, down, or stay the same?
So funny is I see all these people being like, the problem with free healthcare is that you have to wait a really long time to get seen, as though the wait lists on a similar amount of time in the States and you have to pay for it. Like, I know how long you have to wait, but you pay more in taxes and you have to pay $500 a month in insurance. I worked this out. We pay less in taxes towards healthcare.
I'd have to check. It might depend. It's interesting that she's citing sources for this, but not for wait times. The US is also real big, so you'd want to probably find averages for certain treatments. And are we talking people who use what's the like welfare healthcare thing called? You know what I'm talking about?
Then Americans pay in health insurance. So like, it actually turns out to be cheaper paying it in taxes. This is like a 2x2 little layout of dialogue between that one like woman that gets used in all the leftist memes and Elon Musk that says, Joe Biden should pay for my student loans. Get a job, sweetie. You can't say sweetie. It's offensive to diabetics.
I think a literal 12-year-old made this, or a leftist made this as a parody. That's Ricky Gervais.
I wonder. Donald Trump, basic biology, guns, family value, patriarchy, Harry Potter. Ah, there she blows. And
this reads ironic to me. This is either a literal child or it's ironic.
And she's blowing up. What?
You understand the joke though, right?
So they have, like, they're limited to like 2 jokes, and one of them is just calling us snowflakes and saying that we're oversensitive to anything. Like, no one,
not to anyone, and not to anything that you have specific terms that will trigger you into melting down. That's the gag. Like, it's not a good meme, but that's the gag.
Is getting mad at you and yelling at you for saying silly little words. Like, sweetie being offensive to diabetics, I know that's a joke, but it's a really bad joke. The word...
I guarantee I could say a word and she'd get really upset, but... Or I say a word to her and she'd get upset, but... Or at least very angry, perhaps to the point where she turns red and blows up. But I cannot do it on Twitch.
Words that you're trying to defend using are like actual harmful slurs.
So you are the person in the meme, good job.
That have like historical significance behind why they're bad. And
behind why they're bad. She doesn't even understand the theory behind her own position. The word doesn't become innately innately harmful or innately bad because of the history. It's not, the N-word isn't like imbued with the blood of black slaves.
I don't understand why you feel the need to use them. If someone is like,
that ain't even in this image. Can we just appreciate that we have the shittest, cringest meme of all time, and she had to strawman it? The joke is, you can say totally normal things and they think it's horrible and get triggered. It's not good.
Meaning to it. Maybe don't say it. Then you know what you can do? Very easily cut it out of your vocabulary.
Or else what?
Very easily. And so, like, shouting things like Donald Trump, basically...
Well, wait. Also, is it easy? You're talking to a diverse audience, Queer Kiwi. Should everyone stop saying all words? Is she on that train? Because she has said that the word becomes innately a harmful slur. Maybe she's on the, like, black people do not say N-word train.
Biology, guns, family value, and patriarchy, and Harry Potter at someone. No one gives a shit, man. Say what you want. You just have to handle the, like, repercussions of
saying Harry Potter, Donald Trump?
Saying what you want. And none of those things...
If no one cares, what repercussions would there be? No one cares. You just have to handle what we'll do to you. What?
These are like bad words to say. It's just about your opinions on them. That's the problem. You can yell about how much you love Harry Potter all you like.
But the second you shit on Snape, I'm coming for your ass, boy. If she said something like that, that's a W, because that's funny.
Like, go for it. Do what you want. But people are going to be upset with you and tell you that, like, hey, did you know this about Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling and why we shouldn't be supporting it?
That's not even what the joke is it? I don't know. Oh, God. The example of something that has consequences and repercussions is saying you like Harry Potter? That's your example of something that needs to be called out? Oh, my God.
And if you continue to, those people are just going to be like, well, you know what? Fuck you. And then carry on. Using Elon Musk in this is so fucking funny too, because isn't he banning the word cis from Twitter because he classes it as a slur?
Yeah, you get deboosted. Probably should have had this as your first main thing.
Like, he took over Twitter and the N-word went up by like 500% in the first day. And that's
stonks.
Fine. But then he's like, you can't use the word cis on Twitter because that's actually a slur. Like, you call us fucking snowflakes.
You all are. Yeah.
You call us fucking snowflakes. Using actual slurs with, like, terrible historical power behind them.
Does she literally believe in, like, magic? Saying the word itself doesn't do anything. That's not even the theory behind what you're talking about. It's not a cult.
Versus using the word cis, which is literally Latin for, like, on the side of.
Hey, what's the Spanish word for black?
On the side.
You don't believe this. You don't believe this is a defense of something being called a slur? If it's used derogatorily towards someone and targets an innate characteristic of who they are and what they are, right? That's wherein it will be considered a slur. That's the argument you have to fight against.
And then trans is like on the other side. Like they are just they're just descriptors that have no historical significance behind them at all.
Historical significance, okay. How do things get historical significance, though? The first time a black person was called the N-word, how was that bad? Because it didn't have any historical backing or usage. Weird, right?
Thus, they are not slurs because they have no negative.
She genuinely is confirming that she thinks words have inherent meaning. She's making an argument of historical context while also asserting that the context imbues it with an inherent meaning rather than that being a context. Do I want to go down this path? Do I want to talk about how, hey, what are words? They're a tool for communicating meaning and transmitting your intentions. Do I want to go... The meaning that really matters is the meaning that comes from the person saying it, if you care what they're saying. And something you can consider is what's likely to be inferred. That's part of effective communication. But also, an extreme example would be like, if you scream, "I'm going to kill you" at someone, and what you want it to mean is, have a nice day, but you're like, I'm going to kill you. Then yeah, you do have to consider the context of what that means to other people, right? The other side of that is, let's say someone says a list of the most heinous slurs you've ever heard in your life, but they are clinically just listing these slurs in the context of, we're studying language, here are the slurs and how they're pronounced. It's unreasonable to be like, oh, you've attacked all of these races. You can understand what they really mean, right? Both sides have something to them. It's more complex than this. Words do not get automatically imbued by meaning, but in some circumstances, their common use, common understanding, likely understanding with certain groups, context, matches more than the intent, and sometimes the intent matches more than that context, right?
Meaning behind them. But, can't say them on Twitter, because it's bad, and some people will absolutely blow their tops at you for calling them cis. Here we have some really fantastic,
I'm pretty sure trans men wouldn't like being called cis, but spelled differently.
Made up statistics. That is, black males are 6.5% of the US population.
Oh, God.
94%
I didn't know.
Can't read proficiently at 18. 63% don't work full time. 72% illegitimacy rate. 33% are convicted felons. 50% of the male prison population commits 60% of murders. But white people, racism, and...
I feel like I need to skip this. Let's get to her debunk.
Forgive ever? At least try to make it seem believable if you're going to make a fucking
really
meme like this. Like, but let's say, all right, let's just look at it and come at it with the lens of this being true. Let's pretend everything here is true. You know what the problem is? Racism.
Stop. Oh God. Is she undercover? Is she literally a Nazi? She's doing like a racist joke. Guys, let's say 100% of black people are rapists. You know what the problem is? Racism, I'm sure. She's doing racist jokes and she doesn't understand it because she sincerely believes something that is so absurd as to come across as ironic. Let's hypothetically say all these horrible stats are true. It's just going to be blamed on racism.
That is the cause. If this was the issue, it is in fact all caused by racism. If 94% of black adults can't read, that is the fault of racism. Absolutely.
No matter what?
Why are they not being taught how to read? How are they being left out of the education system when white people are not? And
in your hypothetical, no white rate was mentioned. The hypothetical only regarded black people.
If 63% of them don't work full time, why are they not being hired? Why
given jobs?
Why are they not being given jobs? Why?
Chat, why have I not been given a job? How do I work? so many hours despite not being given a job. Strange.
Are they being educated to the level in which they are able to get good jobs? And if 50% of the prison population is black, why is that? Why are they being arrested at a rate
Stop it! I want to stay unbanned. Don't say this shit.
Higher than any other race? Is it because they commit more crimes, or is it because they are being racially profiled? And if it's because they're committing more crimes, like this is saying...
No, she's like a griftoid. She has to be like a secret racist.
Why are they being brought up in a way that is leading them to having to commit more crimes?
Oh, shit! I haven't heard, like, even an alt-righter say something like that. Does she know how bad... Why are they being brought up in a way that is leading them to having to commit more crimes? She is either too stupid to be online or is actually like a sleeper agent. I don't think she understands how bad this is.
What is happening with their upbringing, with the socioeconomic environment that they're living in?
Queer Kiwi. Queer Kiwi. If you're gonna go with that argument... You have to specify, like, stealing food. Not, like, violently assaulting people. Right? You have to narrow it down. You have to be very specific. No matter how poor I am, I'm not going to rape someone. Right?
Like, all of these things do, in fact, come back to white people and racism.
She has to be a sleeper agent. It's too perfectly a joke in itself.
And guns being on here is hilarious, because if all these murders that are being committed are with guns, then yes, those are also a big part of the problem. And like,
I believe black people and white people are more or less the same, and black people have this little agency. How can you hold white people responsible for anything? To hold white people responsible when you are this lenient with responsibility regarding black people's actions, to hold white people accountable is to discriminate, right? It's to imply something is fundamentally different about black people. That white people are not... You're implying that white people are not merely a product of their environment, right? They are the agents who act on others. What has to be the case, otherwise you cannot hold them accountable either. You get, like, do you think she gets that?
Like I said, these statistics are wrong, like massively skewed. However, obviously, there is a higher percentage of the black population who are in prison and who are convicted of crimes and are less educated, etc. Nowhere near to this degree. However, yeah, that is all a result of racism. So I don't know what fucking point you were trying to prove here, but the point you proved was that racism is terrible and real. So I'm glad you're on our side for that.
I'd want to hear from her. What is behavior that cannot be blamed on someone's upbringing, environment, socioeconomic factors and whatnot? What is an individual ever responsible for?
Here is a comic, and the first one is AOC saying, defund the police, with like a Black Lives Matter sign next to her. And then in the second panel, it's her walking down with bodyguards saying, see, what's so bad? And in the background is like a woman with a baby getting mugged, people robbing cars.
Right. Is Queer Kiwi gonna understand this one?
And breaking into buildings, etc., etc. And I just don't think people understand what defund the police means.
It means give them way, way more money. We learned that defunding the police means give them way, way more money and send out people who are qualified in psychiatric fields instead, who are going to cause massive problems.
The right are so funny because they love to misunderstand every point we come up with. They just see the tagline and then just like close their ears about anything else that we try to say after that. They hear defund the police and all they think is, oh, so you want crime to happen.
No, they think you mean remove funding from the police. What? All they think when they hear defund the police is you want crime to happen.
Like, No. No, it's defund the police and put the money into better resources to help people.
You live in the UK, right? Do you just not... Do you, like, when you go outside, do you put blinkers on and not see the newspapers in the news stalls about how thinly spread the police are? Already? Here?
Police exist to come and clean up after the crime has happened. Defunding the police means putting money into resources that...
Okay. Police don't prevent crime because they only pursue someone after the crime has occurred, so how could they prevent that crime? I am very smart.
Actually help people. It's about protecting people and preventing crime because police don't do anything until it's too late. You go to police to like report that you're being stalked and they're like, it's nothing, nothing's happened yet, we can't do anything.
Sometimes.
You come...
I'm not sure this is gonna work for your point though. Part of why they treat some things in such a messed up way and have messed up priorities is lack of resources.
Come back to them again after weeks of it happening and they're like, well, we can't really do anything. And then you get fucking murdered and then they're like, we gotta catch this guy. Like, you know, they're not doing enough. There needs to be separate places you can go.
Right, you're being stalked and the police can't help you. What is the place that can actually help you? How would they act? What is the alternative that stops you from being stalked? I want to hear this, because
to get support who are actually able to support you and do things. It's not about getting rid of the justice system entirely. It's about preventing crime as much as possible. And
right, you're being stalked, Queer Kiwi. The police can't help you. Who can help you? What's your alternative service to help you with stalking? You gave us a hypothetical example. What's the better resource? Do you mean, hey, if the schools were better, no one would grow up to be a stalker? Is that where we're going? That kind of thing? People only ever do f***ed up things because they didn't have a perfect upbringing. No, some people are just f***ed up. What is the service that helps you with a stalker?
That's a better place to put your money. This is a large man.
Not gonna tell us, okay? No ideas. Hey, we should defund the police because they don't have enough resources to send people out to help everyone, especially when you're being stalked. Did you know that there's no such thing as a repeat offender? So, you know, after a crime's happened, there's no reason to catch the perpetrator because they'll never do anything ever again. Did you know that catching a perpetrator of a crime never stops a future crime? How could you even know they've been caught? You don't know if they're going to do anything else. I'm very smart. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Going and punching a woman with a bunch of, like, leftists going, whoa, 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 and, like, telling him to stop. And then they did the same image underneath, except now he's got pigtails and is wearing, like, a trans...
Is this a reference to that video in, like, a Greg's or something where a transoid, like, slugged a woman and people were cheering her on? Isn't this literally just based on a video of something that happened? And commentary on that, hey, if this person just wasn't wearing a skirt or makeup, they wouldn't be cheering.
Flag skirt, so obviously now he's a trans woman. And the same, like, leftist people are going, wow, wow, like, yay, do punch her, other woman. What?
There was a pause there.
No one is encouraging violence.
You don't believe this. This is absolutely false and a lie. It's also wrong.
Violence is bad, no matter who is committing it. It's not
true.
The answer.
It often is. This isn't true. That's extremely wrong.
Not okay. Especially when, you know, this is seemingly an innocent woman who has done absolutely nothing and is being punched. She is defenseless. She has not done anything to provoke this. She's not fighting back. This is just someone going up and punching a woman.
Someone? You mean another woman?
And it doesn't matter what your gender is. You don't fucking do that. And no one is saying that you should do that. Literally.
But it's happened. You can watch it happening. It might not be a massive trend. There are examples, though. And it's a little webcomic. Make a webcomic about anything, especially things that have happened.
Literally no one. And I know sometimes I say no one. And then I get comments being like, you can't say no one. There are some people who do. But in this instance, I'm pretty sure I'm safe to say no one. No one is fucking supporting that. And if there are a few people that are supporting that,
then still don't make a joke about it, Sweaty. It's still immoral to laugh about it. The real crime is when you made a joke about this woman getting her teeth knocked in.
Then I don't know what to tell you. But they're not on our side. They don't think they're on anyone's side, really. This is someone checking into a hotel, and they are depicted to be a trans woman in the sense of they have a beard and are...
Oh! She has to be an op. They're depicted to be a trans woman in the sense that they have a beard. Have a beard, a hairy chest, hairy arms, and they're dirty. That's how I know it's a trans woman.
Hairy chest, hairy arms. They're wearing a really dirty
oh my God.
Pink top and purple skirt. And they have long hair, smoking a cigarette.
That's how I know that. Queer Kiwi, what are you doing?
And says, name is Stevens. My preferred pronouns are she, her. And the concierge says, thank you, Mr. Stevens. My preferred state of mind is reality. There's obviously so...
Can we dig into this, though? I think technically this comic is progressive. Can anyone see why this comic is progressive? I don't think you're going to get it. The Mr. is in scare quotes, meaning the trans woman is being recognized as not being a Mr.
And the concierge says, thank you, Mr. Stevens. My preferred state of mind is reality. There's obviously so many things wrong here. For the first one being the most obvious of like, fucking get over it. Who cares? Who fucking cares? I don't know how many times you have to say it, but like these conservatives, TERFs, etc. need to stop making the same joke and the same meme over and over and over again, because it was never funny. And also, like, how are they still laughing at it? Like, I talked about this recently of how...
I would agree there's absolutely no reason to make these comics. I think it's silly to make these comics, and you shouldn't. Because there are real examples that are just as funny or funnier. And you can literally just show people real examples.
Conservatives just don't know what jokes are and how to have fun. But, like, I mean it.
None of this is funny. Conservatives don't know what a joke is. Or they're having fun. Different audience. It's not for you, sweetie. This isn't for you, sweetie. Granted, I didn't particularly find it funny either, but still.
It's so bad. Like, they have the same jokes that they use over and over again because they can't find humor in anything other than laughing at other people. They are incapable of laughing at themselves.
Guys, you know I have eye problems. I can't deal this level of projection coming at me.
Or with each other, and like, so they have to laugh at other people, and they have just like only a few ways they know how to do that they're like, this is gonna piss people off. But like, let me tell you, no one actually gives a fuck.
They do, and that's a major component of why it's funny. Yeah. Figureheads don't care. If you call a famous person who has a wig and a 6-inch sausage, it doesn't actually bother them. But the swarmoids, the general gender morass, the slimoids, they care.
No one cares that you're making these jokes. It's fucking annoying, but you look so stupid. Like, trans people look at this and they're like, are you fucking, what the fuck?
You look so stupid. Same comedy as, you look like a dude. You're doing it now. She's doing it right now. She's doing the same thing they're doing with, guess what? You look stupid is a far older and more done version of you look like a dude. You're doing what they're doing, but with something that's even more outplayed.
Grow up. You know, you're not actually really hurting anyone's feelings. You just look like an asshole, and you're just not very funny. Learn how to...
The implication here is that they'd care about this. I like the comic now literally just because of this reaction, though.
Fun, actually. And like, don't laugh at people because I don't really, there's nothing really fun or satisfying about laughing at people. Like,
That's absolutely not true. It depends. It depends. Like, I'm not gonna laugh at some like little progeria kid dying of cancer. That's not very fulfilling. Someone who's just a loser, laughing at them is great.
life is so much more fun when you laugh with each other, when you laugh at yourself, and when you actually are constantly coming up with new jokes.
Much like truly original stories, that's extremely difficult. Because what is a joke? If you start looking at jokes mechanically, there are very few jokes. Ever.
I don't really ever see people being like, the left only has 3 jokes, because we don't. We actually have fun and laugh.
You're right. Yeah, no one says that because no one's been able to put aside the time to read through the entirety of one of your jokes.
About a lot of different stuff and not stuck on the same thing for literally over a decade. This joke has been made. At least we've moved on from like,
you're stuck on what the joke's about, though, right?
my gender is helicopter. Like, at least we've moved on from that. And then on top of that, like, they always depict trans people in the same way. For one, it's always trans women. They never do it the other way around. They always show trans women.
Honestly, trans men just like typically do it better. Just skill issue.
And it's always just someone who is like,
I feel like more trans men pass than trans women. Am I crazy? But also you see far fewer. You see far fewer as well. So yeah, why is it always the kind of person that's on TV all the time? Why are you talking about these people that you always see everywhere?
More like frumpy, and they have body hair and a beard and like more masculine features. I just find it so interesting that they like refuse to acknowledge trans people that exist outside of this because it doesn't fit their narrative. They're like,
no, they love that if they're also on their side. See Blair White.
Trans people are just men in dresses.
There's another wrinkle to this, though, and it's so obvious. Trans women who pass don't need to demand that shit, because people just treat them like women.
And wigs. See, they all look like this, which is untrue. And also, even trans people who do look like that, like, they're not fucking doing anything either. Like, just leave them alone and respect their choices.
I think people would like to leave them alone. I think people would love to.
This is the dog sitting in fire meme, and it's
I swear to God, if she says all of these are fine.
Declining marriage rates. This is fine. Declining birth rates. This is fine. High divorce rates. This is fine. Yeah. Yeah, it is fine.
Good job.
Why does any of that matter? Why does any of that matter? Declining marriage rates? Okay, what's the problem with declining marriage rates?
Do you not see a divorce occurring as a negative thing? Even if it makes sense for the divorce to occur, given that her approach to crime prevention is putting money into systems that will prevent people from becoming criminals anyway, isn't divorce bad? Like, even if a divorce happens and it's because someone's abusive and it's to get away from them, isn't it bad that that happened at all? Would it not have been better for that to have not been an abusive relationship? The divorce not happen?
Less people are getting married.
If she's someone who looks for long-term solutions from the ground up.
And what? Why does marriage matter? Why does that? Why?
You've stated support for gay marriage.
Why does that matter? I don't get why it matters if people get married or not. Like, marriage isn't
get married or not. Okay.
the be-all, end-all. It's not the most important thing in the world. And also, like...
But how does it affect you personally? Look at the context of the meme. We're talking about people having kids, not getting married and divorcing. What do you think the implication is?
Divorce rates are going down. So I don't particularly know where that point comes from. Marriage rates are going down, which in turn also means that divorce rates are going down because...
That doesn't follow. Do you know what a rate is? Hey, there used to be 30% of marriages ended in divorce. The rate of marriages ending in divorce was 30%, but this year there was only one marriage and they got divorced, so the rate's way lower. You fucking retard.
Shocker, if less people get married, less people get divorced. So
oh my god. I don't know whether the rate of divorce went up or not. I know it's high relative to what it was in the past. This disqualifies her from being taken seriously on anything.
So you have to pick a priority. I feel like it's better to just not get married than to have lots of divorces, purely just because going through a divorce seems like a hassle.
Yeah, but you don't have to go through all of them. Wait. I think this is a symptom of not being able to look at the impact of things on a society or as a trend within a society, and only being able to look at it for yourself. I don't want to get married, I don't want to get a kid, have kids. So why does any of this matter? In any context ever.
Divorced. So you have to pick a priority. I feel like it's better to just not get married than to have lots of divorces, purely just because...
Better to not get married than to have lots of divorces. As an individual, or... Does she genuinely not get the idea that it's about the rate?
Going through a divorce seems like a hassle. It just seems like a hassle. It's a lot of legal paperwork and whatever. Getting married is also a bunch of paperwork. Like, it seems easier to just not do either. And like, the declining birth rate is such an interesting one because like, yes, the amount of children people are having is going down, but it is still on average 2.23 globally.
Globally. Oh.
So we are still having more children than there are people. And it's expected to...
We're having more children than there are people? At what rate?
keep declining. So it'll be like 1.6 by...
More children are being born than people are dying. Is that what you mean? Is that what you meant to say, Queer Kiwi? Every day we have more children than there are people alive. Population of Earth increasing exponentially.
2100. But at the same time, our life expectancy is longer. So people are on Earth longer. So the population is still going to be growing even if the birth rate...
That's really bad! That's how you get an aging population! That's how you get a bunch of old people who can't be supported. Queer Kiwi, that's bad! That's really bad! What the f***?
Is lower because more people are going to be around for a longer period of time. And I also, once again, don't really understand why that matters.
It matters because you're going to be 70 years old and you're going to be left to rot alone with no help, and you're going to trip and break your ankle and you're going to starve to death on the ground. How about that, to make it personally relevant to you?
At all. Like, the population getting smaller, which it isn't, is not it's not the end of the world. That's not a problem at all. Like, people are like, the population is in danger. We have 8 billion people. There are 8 billion people. Like, the population of Earth hit 1 billion in 1804.
This lady is so every person is an interchangeable economic unit of economic value that she doesn't even, like, she isn't even cognizant of difference in age.
So the world's population hit 1 billion in 1804, so like 220 years ago. And then when I was born, the global population was 6 billion. I am now 24, and the global population is 8 billion. Like, that's ridiculous.
How is it a ridiculous amount of growth? Do you understand?
Amount of growth. If it slows down, it's not really a bad thing, is it? It's not like we're gonna fucking run out of people. The only reason that, you know, we'd need to keep having...
Here we go.
a lot of kids and keep the population increasing exponentially is literally just for like capitalistic reasons.
I feel like I'm just gonna curl up and die.
It's just to fuel the economy and consumerism.
I actually can't understand not. I thought she was gonna do her usual thing of ignoring such an obvious point, and then she for ages and ages, and then she just spits the point out, and it's like, yeah, no shit, why didn't you mention it?
Etc. And having the fear of not having that, I think, is a lot for some people.
Having your meals delivered is a luxury, Grandma. I know you can't walk anymore.
But you know, we shouldn't have a society and an economy that depends so heavily on that. We put way too much pressure on workers and our
Oh, so we're gonna have less young people and we're gonna have them doing less to support the aging population. Right.
Consumerism is unreal. Like, it doesn't have to be this way.
Doesn't have to be this way, Grandma, you capitalist pig. You can have one sandwich a day.
We should be able to be just fine with less people. Because, I mean, we've always had less people. Anyway.
Right. More people, more requirements. Who provides for them? I think if you wanna dip that population down, you have to do it slow. You can't just spike that shit down, or Grandma starves.
Yeah, so none of those things are bad, I don't think. Declining marriage rates, declining birth rates, high divorce rates, I don't understand why anyone cares about that. None of that's important outside of your own life. Like,
doesn't she believe like gay marriage is a right? Didn't she allude to that earlier as well?
Get married, don't get married, have kids, don't have kids. Doesn't matter. Do what you want. Doesn't matter what other people are doing. I don't give a fuck about other people's marriage or divorce rates. Do whatever you want. Guess what? Doesn't impact me. And if you're spending all your time concerned about other people's marital status and how many kids they're having, your life is boring. You should do things that are more fun. Focus on your own family. If marriage and kids are so important to you, go get married and have some kids and focus on them instead of other people. This is the end of all the memes that I have in my phone today. I hope that you had a good time looking at the
homeless? Yeah, well, I have a house. Starving? Well, I have food. Just eat.
Them and a good giggle, and also like frustrated, like.
Granted, what I'm saying is not analogous to what she's saying, but the point is, there's a world outside of yourself.
Facepalm every now and then throughout this video. Don't forget.
And even then, like, guess what? Other people starving does affect me. Other people, even if you don't care about the suffering of other people, having like 1 billion homeless people around you is not really nice. Like, even if you are utterly cynical and only care about yourself, you're a true egoist. Morality is based on what's good for you. Actually being surrounded by the homeless isn't great, for instance.
To leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
In fact, there's very little that when you look at it societally doesn't have an impact on you at all. It's really hard to think of something that doesn't have any impact at all.
I am here a couple times a week and I would love to see you around again. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now.
You can be credited here too if
you so
you
much
give
for your
her
support. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons:
patrons.
Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Raven, Elias, Chris, Samuel, and Knitting Menace. I appreciate your support so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else...
Yeah, creepy psychopath. A YouTuber or a streamer telling someone to go do something fun, that's skating on thin ice.